Welcome back to another episode of the Accounting Leads Now podcast. We got an incredible guest lined up for today's episode. So without further ado, let's get into it. In a world where tax accountants are expected to burn the midnight oil, our guest today has a bold message. You don't need to work long hours to achieve exponential growth. She's revolutionized the accounting industry by combining cutting-edge technology with personalized strategy. And she's exceeded her business goals in just 1 year, all while maintaining a healthy work-life balance. We'll dive deep into how she's managing her time so effectively and explores the innovative solutions driving her success. Plus, she's not afraid to challenge the traditional norms of the industry. Get ready to uncover the secrets to redefining accounting success. We are pleased to welcome to the show the founder of Skilled Accounting Solutions, Katie Helle. Katie, welcome to the show. Katie, I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Katie, I would love to break some limiting beliefs. What's one belief you hold about firm growth marketing or the accounting industry that most people would disagree with?
Well, I feel like anyone can do this in terms of firm running if you put your mind to it and you are willing to have an open mind. And I would say people fear that they're not going to be busy or there's not enough work, and that just is not the case at all. There's more work to go around in our industry than there are accountants. And it is unbelievable how busy even this year has been with people looking for an accountant to work with. So there's this limiting belief that, oh, I don't know, I'm worried that there won't be enough work, and that's just really not the case at all.
So let's dive into that, because what stood out to me when I met you in Arizona a handful of months ago, you're relatively new into business, but you were telling me it's just been booming pretty much since day one.
Mhm.
What's been the secret to your success? Because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. We have a lot of people come through our ads. They want to have conversations with us. They don't know how to grow their firm.
Mhm.
You haven't run into that issue. You've had success kind of right out of the gate, which is so amazing. Like, what has worked so well for you?
I think it is the fact that I worked for a prior firm for 15 years. So I really cultivated a lot of relationships. I think really what it comes down to is actually cultivating relationships, not only with clients, but also referral sources, people such as attorneys and financial advisors, because they can be great referral sources for you. I mean, I have a financial advising team that really has been a blessing for my firm because they refer me a lot of business. And I have another financial advising team that I have teamed up with as well. And I think it just creates a great experience for the client when we can work together as a team from the financial advising side and the accountant side. And they're great referral partners. And then also just getting yourself known in the community, in the accounting community and the tax community, because really there are a lot of firms at capacity that don't have anywhere for people to go. And if you introduce yourself to people, go to a conference, let people know what you're doing, who you are, the kind of clients you like to serve, there's plenty of work to go around. I mean, I have people referring business to me that isn't taking business anymore because they're just booked, And so it's really just cultivating that relationship, whether it be with clients or even, colleagues, referral sources, those kind of things.
That's so cool. What would you say to the listener or the firm owner who they haven't gone to a lot of conferences, they haven't invested
Mhm.
in the travel, and there's a lot of them that go around. It
Yeah.
can get expensive booking, flights and hotels and all the accommodation. What would you say to that firm owner who's either getting started or maybe who's been in business for a couple of years who's like, no, I don't think that stuff works and it's just a lot of money.
So I will tell you, conferences for me were transformational. Between attending conferences and meeting people, and then also joining accounting communities. I am a member of Jason Stat's Realize accounting community, and it's a bunch of great firm runners that have problems just like all of us have, and it has been absolutely transformational. I've met some really incredible people in that community as well as at conferences, and they are what have really pushed me to start my own firm when I did. It was the support and the camaraderie, and it was incredible, and it was truly life changing for me, like literally. And I would say that if you can't afford to go to travel to a conference, try small conferences locally. Maybe get involved with your state society. There's usually conferences locally that they put on. Try to get involved in online communities. Logan Graff has a really great community called Counter that is for new firm runners. That community is incredible. I'm also a member of there as well. That, just is nice to talk to other people and get their experiences. And it's also really great because people are really willing to share the wealth of knowledge with firm running. They don't gatekeep it. So if there's a problem, you can post something and people will give you advice, or they're oftentimes willing to share, maybe a document on how they're doing things. It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible and worth every penny and amount of time you spend investing in this, for sure.
What I'm hearing a lot of is the abundance mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
I can relate a ton from marketing masterminds that I'm a part of. I've been a part of a couple different ones, and it was really cool to see actually at Women Who Count and then Connect, and a couple other ones I've attended. But on the marketing side and in the accounting ones, really, how open everyone is to sharing tips. Like, because as you said, there's so much business out there in the US to go around. Like, if someone said tomorrow, hey Katie, here's 200, 300 clients, can you take them on? That would, I'm guessing, would probably stress test the business quite a bit. So, and probably many people listening. So like joining those communities, attending those events, hearing what's working, what's not working for other firms goes so far. And I can't recommend that enough. And I mean, even being at Women Who Count and then last minute deciding to go over to connect with everyone was huge, because it's like, wow, it reinforced to me how important it is to get out in those communities. And have you attended other events for industries you work in, or have you primarily attended like professional learning events in the like for the accounting and bookkeeping?
Yeah, I've mostly attended accounting conferences. I have definitely thought about venturing out and going into attending some conferences in the industries that I serve. I mostly serve service-based businesses, but I have a large client that is a spa, so to say. They have multiple locations, and I really enjoy working with them, and I really enjoy that industry. And I would love to go to like a cosmetology type conference or something like that, just to learn more about the type of spas and salons that are out there, and maybe I can serve them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that for us has been a pretty transformational strategy for growth. It's obviously it's a longer term play than put up an ad and someone comes in, maybe bring them in that day. But just as you were talking about how transformational it is kind of hanging out with your own tribe, getting out and into the home service industries and walking those floors, and now you become the go-to industry expert for the home service space, can be massive. So I would challenge you, if there's check out which ones are coming up, and step outside your comfort zone a little bit to jump into those events.
Yeah, I definitely plan on doing that because I think it would be a lot of fun, learn something new, and I always love learning, and this would be a great way to challenge myself for sure.
Absolutely. So Katie, things have been going really well the last year. What's something that maybe hasn't gone to plan that caught you off guard? Like, wow, I wasn't expecting this to be so hard.
So I would say the hardest thing for me has been the fast growth. I was not prepared for it. I,
Terrible
truly,
thing to have happen.
I mean, honestly, right? But I was not prepared when I started my firm full time. You know, had a practice management system that I had set up like before actually like fully launching. And I'd been working behind the scenes on doing those things, but it was really like a quick process of like just to keep track of work and stuff like that. And I didn't really take the time to create like SOPs and like step-by-step process because I knew it was right here, right? And I did not intend on growing the way I did. I started out myself, and now I have a bookkeeper, a part-time tax preparer, and a part-time admin, right? So
Amazing.
I had to take what was in here, and I've been trying to redo our practice management system so that there are, distinct processes in place on who's doing what. And then also teaching the team all the things that I know up here that it's just from me being in the industry for so long, right? I would say that was my biggest mistake, is not taking the time initially to lay it all out. I just did not expect it to grow as quick as I did. I mean, the first tax season, I was like, oh, this is going to be excellent. It's going to be kind of like a slow process with building the business. I'll have some time to work on this. And it just simply wasn't, it was not that way at all. And so it was one of those where I got into March of last year and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to hire a tax preparer to help me because it's just too much. And, I went out on my own with very intentional purposes, right? Like I did not want to have the grind of the traditional accounting firm. I worked that for a long time and I worked a lot of hours, and I have a small child and a family at home, and I just don't want to do that anymore. When I was young and didn't have kids, it was not a big deal. But when I'm older, the last thing I want to be doing is working 70 hours a week during tax season. So I was really intentional. I've been really intentional with, the kind of clients that I work with, one, and then also making sure that I set hard boundaries to maintain that work-life balance. I don't typically work more than 40 hours a week. And, even in the summer months, I work less than that because I do like to travel. So, you can't have a huge client base with a small team that I have and not work a lot of hours. And I came into the tax season, the first tax season, I was scheduling out tax preparation. This is kind of a new thing in the industry where firms are scheduling tax preparation rather than letting people just drop their documents off, and when they get it, they start preparing the tax return. I was really strategic in that the first year, and I wanted to make sure I was able to maintain that work-life balance. And it actually has worked really well. We've enhanced the process a little bit this year to make it a bit easier for us on the back end side, the team side, and then also the clients with scheduling and whatnot. So it's been a fun journey for sure. I mean, I think every firm owner and even business owner needs to have a great mindset of learning, right? Things are never going to be exactly perfect, and you have to be willing and able to learn new things to, make your business better.
What's surprised you the most about you now being in the business owner seat from when you got started to today?
Well, I often think about this because, I always wanted to do this, but I never thought I could. I think it was a lack of confidence, perhaps. There was always the fear of what if, right? What if I can't build my business? I am the income generator for our family, and leaving a very stable job was scary. Like you are lots of sleepless nights trying to figure this out, planning it in advance. But I think that, once the aha moment for me was like writing it out on paper of, okay, here's what I'm making now, and this is what I need to do. What does that look like in terms of client base or tax returns or accounting work? Because I do accounting services too. Mm-hmm. What did that actually look like? And then when you break it down in smaller increments, it was like an aha moment to me, like, oh, well, that's not that difficult. I could probably do that. And then it just got way better, as the year went on, and things just grew real fast.
That's so awesome. Well, I have this is a bit of a hot topic I find in the accounting space. How is the sales, like learning sales or having those sales conversations been for you? Because I'm guessing in your past role that probably wasn't something that came across your desk too much. And I know a lot of other firm owners, when it comes to sales, some get, they're either really shy and they don't like that part, or they have this incredible confidence because everything's been a referral and it's like, oh, I could close everything. I'm curious, where do you feel you fall into the bucket with your confidence when it comes to those sales calls when people are like, hey, Katie, tell me how you can help my business out?
Yeah. So I feel like sales is in my blood. I think it's in my DNA. My dad was in sales his whole entire life. He's still in sales, right? And when I was younger, I had a business that I was selling jewelry for a home-based business, and I was one of the top sellers in Arizona. And so it was I feel like it's in my blood. So to me, it's really easy to talk to people about the services that I do offer and how we can help their business. I also have an extreme passion for helping business owners. I love seeing a business start at A and going to selling their business years later. It's so inspiring to me to see them grow their business with me helping them along the way. So I kind of use that when I go into talking to people. And I think honestly, at the end of the day, you can sell yourself to somebody in like the first 5 seconds of communicating with them, right? When you're meeting with them, how are you talking to them? Do you have a great personality? Are you fun? Like they're not going to want to work with someone who's boring, or doesn't necessarily answer their questions. I think people want you to listen, and I think that is so important. And I don't win every sale, right? I don't, and I don't want to win every sale, because I feel like if I were to win every single sale, then either I'm not pricing right, or I'm not really looking at what kind of businesses I want to work with, right? Like I'm just more of a generalist. I am a generalist, right? But I typically work with service-based businesses and high net worth individuals. So if I take on anybody and everybody, that's going to really start pushing the capacity load, right? And again, I'm very hard on my boundaries, right? And so I think in terms of if someone were wanting to learn what to do, I think you need to have a mentor, right? To help them, walk them through learning how to talk to people. I attended in the fall the Theater of Public Speaking. I don't know if you're familiar with Misty Mejia and the Theater of Public Speaking, but I attended their training, their intermediate training last fall, which it was incredible because it really helps you communicate better, and I kind of look at it's not just a communication of business. It's like communication all over, personally and professionally. So I've really enjoyed that, and I've learned a lot in just doing that. But also, I think it comes with finding someone that has a lot of experience, that maybe is a successful firm. That's why I love when people just starting out want to reach out to me and ask me questions, because I feel like it's my job to share the wealth of knowledge, right? Like it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There's a lot of stress and whatnot. But I think if the good outweighs the stress, it's far worth it in the end.
Yeah, that's so cool. With the training you took, you did you get I don't know how to word. Did you get out of it what you anticipated when you signed up?
Yeah.
Walk me through that a little bit.
So I didn't really know what to expect. I had a friend in the industry, Nancy McClelland, who was like, "You need to take this class. This is such a great class. I really want to get into education for accountants as well, like doing webinars and training and whatnot." And so she's like, "You need to take this. I think it will be really helpful for you." So I was like, "Okay." She told me I need to take it. I should take it, right? And so I I signed up in the very first class. I was like, what the hell did I get myself into? like, oh man, I don't think I'm meant for this, right? And then so I didn't go into it with a lot of expectation, and when I left there, it was so transformational for me. Like I can see things differently with talking to people, and then when people are teaching, I can see such a difference now that I didn't necessarily see previously. So much so that I also am attending their advanced retreat this
Amazing.
spring. So I'm working on that as well. But it's I think firm owners in maybe actually any business owner, they have to have this learning mindset. They have to continue to learn and grow, because if you become stagnant, what do you have to offer not only your team but also your clients and customers, right? You have to be willing to continue to learn, and I just am like this little sponge right now that's wanting to learn all the things.
I love that. What's next? What's next for you? What's next for the business?
Yeah, so this year I think is going to be a really busy year, not only, business wise, but I am now a member of the Intuit Tax Council. So I'm involved in that.
Congratulations.
And thanks. Yeah, it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool to see what they're working on, and being kind of a voice in the process of things is fun. So it involves some traveling, which is really nice. This summer I'm really hoping to leave for about 6 weeks, so that will be really fun, hopefully, to spend with my family. And as far as like business growth goes, I'm continuing to grow, but I don't want to become this multi-million dollar firm, because I feel like it's going to take away that purpose of starting the firm. My why is my daughter and my family. And although it's great that I can grow, it defeats the purpose of spending time with them, right? And I know you can bring more people on, but there comes more headaches, right? When you have a larger team, sometimes it's harder to manage. And I just don't want to do that. I want to grow and help the clients that I have now, and have, bring on new clients as needed, and just give them the best service that they deserve.
I love how intentional you are with everything, Katie. Like everything from the start of this interview to now, I feel you have a very crystal clear goal on exactly what you want, what it looks like, and why you're doing it. Like you just mentioned, I admire that a lot, because I get very clouded at times, and I feel like it's easy to I need to get to this size because that's what everyone else around me is doing, or I need to be doing this because that's what these peers have done. But you have a very laser focused vision on what you want in your business. I really admire that.
Thanks. I don't feel like every person has to have this multi-million dollar firm to be successful, right? You can have a very small firm and enjoy as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, really at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Yeah, money is great, but it's not what necessarily makes you happy, to be a business owner. And I worked too long in a traditional industry, a traditional firm, that I just don't want to. I was burnt out. I was ready for a change, and I don't want to get to that burnt out point again. I want to continue to enjoy what the profession that I absolutely love. And so it is really important to be intentional. But I want people to know that you can have a very successful firm, and success is a different measure for everybody, whether it be, money, or, the feeling inside, as silly as that sounds, but it doesn't necessarily mean comparing yourself to other people, right? I have a friend that I met through Jason Stats Realize, and he started his firm right around the same time that I did. And so we kind of like we have this little buddy system where we meet every 3 weeks, and we like talk through things. And it's really great to have this, friend to go along this journey, because it's quite the journey. And, it's so funny because we are very different but similar in ways, right? He is very anxious to grow a bigger firm, and I'm like, I'm just loving where I'm at. Like I just am okay having a small firm, but I love that about us because I don't feel like it's a competition. I feel like, that's what makes each of us great, right? And we learn so many different things from everybody that, you just can't compare yourself to other people. It's just not fair to you, and it's not fair to everybody.
That's You've just shared so much knowledge, and I'm just enjoying this conversation so much. So thank you so for that. What's the final piece to wrap this up for everyone? You've already shared again so much advice, so much wisdom, but what is the best piece of advice you've ever received, personally or professionally? What comes to mind?
Figure out your why. Why are you doing this? Why? Because the why is what determines a lot in the future, right? You if you don't know your why, you're not going to have a clear-cut path of where you want to be. And I think that makes a really big difference. I do know people who have spun their wheels trying to get their firms up and running. And I really think what it boils down to is they didn't know their why. They didn't know why they wanted to do this, who they wanted to serve, what was their goals within the business. When I first started, I really took the time to create like a vision for myself, with goals of the firm and mission statement, because I feel like that's really important. That helps us keep to the North Star, right? And if you don't have that all figured out, and it's not perfect, and it certainly can be modified as you grow, but if you don't have a starting point, how can you be successful?
If you don't know where you're going, if you can't see the bullseye, and you could use all the analogies, but if you can't see the bullseye,
Hmm.
it's hard to throw and hit it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Katie, this
exactly.
this was incredible. How can people get in touch with you if they want to continue the conversation? They want to reach out. Where can we push them to contact you?
Yeah, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile is MKD Healy, CPA. You can also visit my website, scaledaccounting.com, and there's a little Let's Connect button on there, and there's a little questionnaire, and on there is one of them is Talk Shop. And so
Love
I'm
it.
more than happy to, connect with people in the industry and answer any questions, or, if they just don't know where to begin, I can hopefully provide some words of wisdom.
I love it. Katie, thanks again for coming on. This has been absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.